Comfort is appealing because it asks very little from us. It makes life feel easier, smoother, and more predictable. But what often goes unnoticed is that too much comfort can slowly weaken the qualities that help us grow. The things that feel pleasant today can quietly make us less prepared for tomorrow's challenges. The Stoic philosophers understood this centuries before modern technology filled our lives with convenience. They never believed that a meaningful life was one without hardship. Instead, they saw difficulty as something valuable. Challenges sharpen our thinking, strengthen our character, and reveal whether our decisions are driven by values or by the desire to avoid discomfort. While many people naturally move away from difficult situations, the Stoics chose to face them. They knew that real strength isn't built when everything goes according to plan. It develops when we encounter resistance and continue moving forward despite it. Today, avoiding discomfort has never been easier. Almost every inconvenience has a shortcut. Boredom disappears with a swipe of a screen. Stress can be temporarily hidden behind endless entertainment, shopping, scrolling, or constant distractions. Yet, despite living in one of the most comfortable periods in history, many people struggle with anxiety, shortened attention spans, and a lack of resilience. The reason is simple. When comfort becomes something we expect all the time, even small difficulties begin to feel overwhelming. Our minds adjust to whatever we experience repeatedly. If we constantly protect ourselves from discomfort, we eventually lose confidence in our ability to handle it. The Stoics offered a different perspective. They believed that lasting strength comes from accepting reality instead of resisting it. It comes from taking responsibility for our actions and remaining steady when life becomes uncertain. Difficult moments are not simply obstacles to survive. They are opportunities to discover the kind of person we have trained ourselves to become. Life will eventually test everyone. No one escapes setbacks, disappointment, uncertainty, or loss. These experiences are not necessarily punishments. More often, they reveal the habits, attitudes, and character we have been building all along. The real question is never whether challenges will arrive. They always do. The important question is whether the daily choices we make are preparing us to meet those challenges with courage and confidence. Consider the simple moments that most people overlook. Getting out of bed as soon as the alarm rings, completing an important task instead of putting it off, staying calm when something minor goes wrong. These actions may not seem impressive, but they quietly shape who we become. Every small decision strengthens a pattern in the mind. Over time, those patterns become habits, and those habits become character. The person you become tomorrow is created by the choices you make today, even when no one else notices them. This is why the Stoics placed so much importance on ordinary actions. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that a person's life is built through consistent behavior rather than good intentions alone. Every action is a small vote for the kind of person you want to become. Repeated enough times, those votes define your character. Many people spend years imagining a stronger, more confident future version of themselves. They dream about becoming disciplined, focused, or successful. Yet, they overlook the daily habits that would actually create that future. They wait for motivation to appear, for confidence to grow, or for the perfect moment to begin. In the meantime, valuable opportunities for growth quietly pass by. Personal growth rarely feels dramatic. It is usually slow, repetitive, and almost invisible. It is found in showing up every day, staying patient when progress seems small, and following through even when enthusiasm disappears. The mind becomes whatever it practices most often. If we repeatedly delay important tasks, procrastination becomes natural. If we consistently finish what we start, discipline gradually becomes part of who we are. Our future is not shaped by occasional bursts of motivation, but by the habits we repeat day after day. Every choice matters, because every choice teaches the mind what to expect from itself. The smallest actions, repeated consistently, become the foundation of resilience, confidence, and inner strength. Long before life presents its biggest challenges, it is already preparing us through the ordinary decisions we make each day. Who we become is shaped by the choices we repeat every day. Our identity isn't built overnight. It grows slowly through countless small actions. The challenge is that avoiding responsibility rarely feels harmful in the moment. In fact, it often seems like the sensible thing to do. We tell ourselves, we'll start tomorrow when we're better prepared. We convince ourselves that we'll focus once life settles down. We delay difficult conversations, put off important tasks, or ignore responsibilities because one more day doesn't seem like it will make a difference. But our minds notice every one of those moments. Every time we step back from a commitment, we teach ourselves something. Every excuse leaves an impression, and every delay becomes part of a pattern. The real question is whether those patterns are building confidence or slowly weakening it. At first, the gap between what we intend to do and what we actually do is almost invisible. But if it continues, that gap grows wider. Eventually, we begin to question whether we'll keep the promises we make to ourselves. It's not that we've lost our ability. We've simply trained ourselves not to trust our own intentions. Over time, hesitation becomes familiar. Taking action starts to feel more difficult than it really is, and our goals seem farther away than they actually are. The Stoics believed that one of the greatest forms of strength is trusting yourself. Without that trust, even the best knowledge remains unused, and meaningful goals become much harder to pursue. But when you consistently follow through on your commitments, something important begins to change. Your mind stops arguing with every decision. Instead of wasting energy negotiating with yourself, that energy is directed toward action. What once felt like a struggle gradually becomes a habit. This is why discipline is about much more than getting things done or becoming productive. At its heart, discipline is about creating a dependable relationship with yourself. Every time you complete what you said you would do, you strengthen the belief that your decisions matter. Every promise you keep increases your confidence that you can rely on yourself. The result isn't arrogance or ego. It's a quiet sense of stability. You begin making decisions with less doubt because your own experience has shown that your actions match your words. That consistency becomes one of your greatest sources of inner strength. As this habit develops, responsibility starts to feel different. Instead of seeing it as something life forces upon you, it becomes a reflection of your personal standards. Your choices are no longer controlled by your mood, but by the principles you've chosen to live by. Some days you'll feel motivated, and other days you won't. But your standards don't need to change, just because your emotions do. This shift in thinking removes much of the inner conflict that keeps people stuck. Instead of asking, "Do I feel like doing this?" you begin asking, "Is this the right thing to do?" That simple change brings remarkable freedom. Decisions become easier because you're no longer waiting for the perfect mood or the ideal circumstances. Less time is spent debating, and more time is spent moving forward. You accept that conditions will always change, but your commitment doesn't have to. Viewed this way, discipline isn't about forcing yourself through every moment. It's about showing up consistently, regardless of how you feel. There's another benefit that people often overlook. When trust in yourself begins to fade, your sense of control over your own life often fades with it. You begin to feel as though life is simply happening to you, instead of being something you can actively shape. As confidence weakens, even small problems start to feel overwhelming. Minor setbacks seem much bigger than they really are, and ordinary obstacles begin to look like proof that you're incapable. But more often than not, the real problem isn't the obstacle itself. It's the meaning you've attached to it. This is where Stoic philosophy offers one of its most valuable lessons. It reminds us to separate what is within our control from what isn't. That distinction brings clarity. Your effort, your decisions, your attitude, and your response are always within your control. Outcomes, other people's opinions, and unexpected events are not. When you focus your attention on what you can influence, your energy is used wisely. When you become consumed by things you cannot control, your energy becomes scattered, and your peace of mind begins to disappear. The mind works best when it stays focused on the choices available today, rather than worrying endlessly about uncertain results. In the end, becoming stronger is usually much simpler than people imagine. It doesn't require dramatic moments, endless motivation, or extraordinary willpower. More often, it comes from respecting the small decisions that appear every single day. The person who consistently does what needs to be done, even when it isn't exciting, slowly builds momentum. The person who keeps promises to themselves develops genuine confidence. And the person who remains calm through life's ordinary inconveniences prepares themselves to face much greater challenges with resilience and strength. The Stoics believed that our everyday actions matter far more than our grand ideas. They knew that life is shaped by what we repeatedly do, not by what we merely believe. A strong mind isn't created through philosophy alone. It grows through daily choices, personal responsibility, and consistent attention to how we live. Every decision reinforces a habit. Every habit shapes our character. And every new day gives us another opportunity to strengthen that character. When we continue acting in line with our values, the gap between what we intend to do and what we actually do becomes smaller. Eventually, reliability becomes part of who we are, and from that reliability comes genuine inner strength. This transformation is rarely dramatic. It happens so gradually that we often don't notice it. People usually don't wake up one morning feeling incapable. Instead, confidence slowly fades over time. Tasks that once felt simple begin to seem exhausting. Conversations that used to feel natural become something to avoid. Ordinary challenges start looking like serious problems. And little by little, we begin questioning our own ability to handle discomfort. At first, these changes seem insignificant. A minor inconvenience ruins the mood for hours. A small delay creates unnecessary frustration. Unexpected problems feel much larger than they really are. Criticism becomes difficult to let go of. And even small setbacks occupy our thoughts long after they should. Although these reactions appear unrelated, they're often connected by the same underlying habit. The human mind adapts to whatever it experiences most often. This ability helps us learn and grow, but it can also work against us. When we constantly choose comfort, comfort begins to feel essential instead of optional. As comfort becomes our normal state, our tolerance for discomfort shrinks. Situations that once seemed ordinary now feel overwhelming, simply because we've become less accustomed to handling them. The challenge itself hasn't changed. We have. The Stoics understood this tendency well. They didn't believe people naturally lack discipline. They believed the mind naturally prefers what is familiar because familiar experiences feel safe and require less effort. But what feels safe isn't always what helps us grow. Growth almost always requires stepping beyond what is comfortable. When we spend all our energy protecting ourselves from discomfort, we stop developing the strength needed to face life's uncertainties. Gradually, our focus shifts from making progress to simply avoiding difficulty. To guard against this, many Stoics intentionally practiced voluntary discomfort. Seneca occasionally chose to live more simply than necessary. He wore plain clothes, ate basic meals, and temporarily gave up luxuries he could easily afford. His goal wasn't self-punishment, it was preparation. By willingly experiencing discomfort, he reminded himself that happiness didn't depend on comfort alone. He also discovered that many of the things people fear are far less frightening once they're actually experienced. Fear often grows larger in our imagination than it ever becomes in reality. There is an important difference between suffering that life forces upon us and discomfort we choose for the purpose of growth. The Stoics believed that willingly practicing small challenges prepares us for much larger ones. A person who regularly exercises self-restraint is less shaken when life becomes unpredictable. Instead of expecting perfect conditions, they learn to adapt whenever circumstances change. That ability to adapt is one of the greatest forms of resilience. It often determines whether pressure overwhelms us or simply becomes another challenge to overcome. Modern life doesn't encourage this kind of strength. Convenience surrounds us almost everywhere. Waiting is treated as a problem to solve. Boredom is filled instantly. Silence is interrupted before it has a chance to teach us anything. Yet, many of the qualities we admire most can only develop through some amount of difficulty. Patience cannot exist without waiting. Discipline cannot exist without resistance. Endurance cannot exist without effort. If every obstacle disappears, so does the opportunity to build these qualities. Over time, this creates dependence, not necessarily on physical comfort, but on ideal circumstances. We begin believing that we can only function well when everything goes according to plan. This dependence often shows itself emotionally before it appears anywhere else. It looks like lingering disappointment over events we can't control. It appears as resentment toward situations that cannot be changed, or anxiety about problems that haven't even happened yet. The discomfort itself may be real, but much of our suffering comes from fighting reality instead of accepting it. The mind naturally wants certainty. It wants reassurance that everything will work out exactly as expected. But life rarely offers those guarantees. When we insist on having complete certainty before moving forward, anxiety naturally increases. The Stoics approached emotional challenges just as they approached physical ones. Rather than demanding that life match their expectations, they worked on aligning themselves with reality. This wasn't passive acceptance or giving up. It was the discipline of seeing situations clearly before reacting emotionally. One of their greatest insights was recognizing that emotions are not instructions. They are information. A feeling deserves attention, but it doesn't deserve automatic obedience. Fear, anger, frustration, and disappointment all communicate something, but they don't have to control our behavior. Real wisdom begins in the small space between feeling an emotion and choosing how to respond. Creating that space requires patience and practice. Our first impulse is often the loudest, but it isn't always the wisest. Anger pushes us toward immediate reaction. Fear encourages us to retreat. Frustration tempts us to complain. But with practice, we learn that we can pause, examine those impulses, and choose a response that reflects our principles rather than our emotions. That quiet ability to respond with intention instead of impulse is one of the greatest strengths the Stoics believed a person could develop. Reacting to every emotion the moment it appears may bring temporary comfort, but it rarely leads to wise decisions. The Stoics understood this well, which is why they trained themselves to pause before responding. That pause wasn't a sign of hesitation or weakness. It was an act of self-control. By creating a moment between what happened and how they responded, they gave reason the opportunity to guide their actions instead of allowing emotions to take control. With enough practice, this simple habit completely changed the way they experienced life's challenges. External events no longer controlled their inner world. This didn't mean they stopped feeling emotions. They still experienced disappointment, frustration, fear, and uncertainty, just like everyone else. The difference was, those emotions no longer decided what they would do next. Instead of being controlled by difficult feelings, they developed confidence in their ability to experience them without losing direction. That confidence changed everything. Obstacles stopped feeling like attacks on their identity. Discomfort was no longer seen as proof that they were failing. It became something expected, a natural part of learning, growing, and becoming stronger. Once we truly understand that growth and discomfort often go hand in hand, we stop wasting so much energy trying to escape every difficult feeling. Resistance gradually loses its power because we recognize that discomfort isn't always a warning. Sometimes it's simply evidence that we're moving beyond our limits. Emotional pain is often harder to deal with than physical pain because it cannot be seen. A broken bone can be treated. A cut can heal. A damaged object can be repaired. But feelings such as rejection, disappointment, embarrassment, loneliness, and uncertainty exist beneath the surface. They quietly influence the way we think, the choices we make, and the stories we tell ourselves. No one avoids these experiences forever. They are part of being human. What truly separates one person from another is not whether they experience emotional pain, but how they interpret it. Imagine two people facing the same disappointment. One believes the setback proves they aren't capable enough. The other sees it as feedback and looks for a different way forward. The situation itself is identical, but the meaning each person gives it creates two completely different futures. This idea was central to the teachings of Epictetus. He argued that events themselves usually aren't what disturb us most. More often, it's the judgments and interpretations we attach to those events that create our suffering. A plan doesn't work out. Someone criticizes us. An opportunity disappears. While those experiences can certainly be painful, much of our distress comes afterward, when the mind begins creating stories about what they mean. We start imagining worst-case scenarios. We convince ourselves that one failure predicts every future failure. Temporary setbacks become permanent labels, and isolated disappointments become evidence that something is fundamentally wrong with us. Before long, the original event has grown far beyond what actually happened. We are no longer responding only to reality. We're reacting to fears, assumptions, and conclusions that may not even be true. This process happens incredibly fast. A person hears disappointing news and instantly pictures everything falling apart. Someone experiences rejection and immediately questions their value as a person. Because these emotions arrive with such intensity, they feel unquestionably true. But intensity is not the same as accuracy. Strong emotions often create the illusion of certainty. They convince us that our first interpretation must be correct, even before we've taken the time to examine it. That's why emotional discipline begins with awareness. When we fail to notice what's happening inside our minds, our thoughts start feeling like facts, and our emotions begin to define reality. We stop questioning our interpretations because they feel so convincing. The Stoics encouraged the opposite approach. They believed we should observe our thoughts before believing them, examine our emotions before acting on them, and ask whether our conclusions are supported by reality or simply by the fear of the moment. That small pause, the space between emotion and action, is where wisdom grows. It gives us the freedom to respond intentionally instead of reacting automatically. Over time, practicing that pause develops emotional stability, clearer judgment, and a quiet confidence that remains steady even when life becomes uncertain. When we stop questioning our thoughts and emotions, we become vulnerable to the stories our minds create. The Stoics recognized this danger, but they never believed the answer was to ignore or suppress emotions. They accepted that emotions are a natural part of being human. Fear, sadness, frustration, and anger will always arise from time to time. Experiencing them isn't the problem. The real challenge begins when those emotions are allowed to make our decisions for us. Every emotion carries a message. Anger may tell us that something feels unjust. Fear may remind us that we're facing uncertainty. Disappointment can reveal that reality didn't match our expectations. These feelings can provide useful information, but they should never become our only guide. This is where the Stoic approach begins. Instead of reacting immediately, they first observed what they were feeling. They created a small pause between emotion and action. Although that pause may seem insignificant, it holds tremendous power, because it gives us the freedom to choose our response instead of simply acting on impulse. Many regrets happen because this pause never occurs. A strong emotion appears, and within seconds, words are spoken, decisions are made, or actions are taken without careful thought. Only afterward do we wish we had responded differently. The Stoics practiced interrupting that cycle. Rather than allowing emotions to carry them wherever they pleased, they stepped back long enough to understand what was happening inside their minds. This wasn't about denying emotions or pretending they didn't exist. It was about leading them instead of being led by them. Imagine emotions as waves on the ocean. You cannot stop the waves from appearing, but you can learn how to steer your boat through them. The Stoics believed wisdom came from learning that skill. As this habit becomes stronger, something remarkable begins to happen. Outside events lose much of their power over your inner peace. Difficult situations still arise. Criticism can still hurt. Failure can still disappoint. But these experiences no longer control your state of mind in the way they once did. Instead of treating every emotion as an order that must be obeyed, you begin treating it as something to observe. You notice it, try to understand it, and place it in its proper perspective before deciding what to do next. That simple change creates emotional stability. Your reactions become calmer and more intentional. Your decisions rely less on temporary moods and more on thoughtful judgment. Much of the anxiety people experience comes from trying to control things that were never within their control. Much of our frustration comes from resisting realities that already exist. The Stoics returned to this lesson again and again because it made life much simpler. Fighting against the unavoidable rarely changes anything. Directing your energy toward your own choices, your attitude, your effort, and your character almost always produces better results. The moment your attention returns to what you can actually influence, your mind regains a sense of purpose. The circumstances around you may remain exactly the same, but your relationship with those circumstances begins to change. And that change makes all the difference. Helplessness slowly gives way to clarity. Frustration is replaced by purpose. Instead of feeling trapped by events, you begin looking for the next meaningful action you can take. As emotional control grows, another realization naturally follows. You become more aware of where your attention goes each day. You notice how easily it can be pulled away by distractions or strengthened through deliberate focus. Eventually, you understand that the quality of your life depends not only on what happens to you, but also on what consistently occupies your mind. Our thoughts influence our actions. Our actions become habits. Our habits shape our character. Because of this, learning to direct our attention toward what truly matters becomes one of the most valuable skills we can develop. This is where genuine self-mastery begins. It creates an inner foundation that remains steady even when the world around us is unpredictable. Attention is one of the most precious resources we possess, yet it is constantly being competed for. Every notification asks us to stop what we're doing. Every headline demands an emotional reaction. Every app, every video, and every social platform invites us to spend just a little more time looking at something else. Each interruption may seem insignificant on its own, but together they gradually divide our focus. Our attention becomes scattered, our energy is fragmented, and staying fully present with any one task becomes increasingly difficult. This is one of the hidden struggles of modern life. Never before have people had access to so much information. Yet, so many still feel uncertain about where they're headed. The issue usually isn't a lack of knowledge. More often, it's the inability to protect our attention from constant distraction. The Stoics understood that whatever consistently receives our attention eventually shapes the way we experience the world. What we focus on repeatedly influences our beliefs, our emotions, and even the meaning we give to everyday events. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to guard the quality of his thoughts, because he knew that a person's inner life is largely determined by what they choose to focus on. When attention is directed toward wisdom, responsibility, and purposeful action, character grows stronger. But when it is constantly consumed by distraction, comparison, and things beyond our control, clarity begins to fade. For the Stoics, mastering attention wasn't simply a productivity skill. It was the foundation of a calm mind, sound judgment, and a meaningful life. Even while carrying the enormous responsibilities of leading an empire, Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself to stay grounded in the present moment. He understood that the mind loses its strength when it is pulled in too many directions at once. Dwelling on the future drains energy that could be used today. Constantly replaying the past does the same. Our attention becomes less effective whenever it is trapped in places where we can no longer act. The present is the only moment where we can make decisions, improve our judgment, and take meaningful action. For the Stoics, returning to the present wasn't simply a calming exercise. It was daily mental training. Each time they redirected their attention to what was happening now, they strengthened their ability to remain focused despite life's distractions. That practice is even more valuable today, because distraction often disguises itself as productivity. We spend hours replying to messages, switching between tasks, checking notifications, reading updates, and consuming endless information. At the end of the day, we've been busy from morning to night. Yet, the work that truly mattered often remains unfinished. Being busy and making progress are not the same thing. Activity alone doesn't guarantee meaningful results. It's possible to stay occupied all day without moving any closer to what really matters. This creates a frustrating cycle. We invest plenty of effort, but very little seems to change. Our schedules are full, yet our most important goals continue waiting. The reason is often simple. Our attention has been divided into so many small pieces that it never has the chance to build momentum. Every interruption forces the mind to begin again. Every distraction steals a little more energy from the work that deserves our full attention. Over time, this habit affects much more than productivity. It changes the way we experience life itself. When our attention is constantly scattered, conversations become less meaningful, because part of our mind is somewhere else. Work becomes less satisfying because our concentration is repeatedly broken. Even moments of rest lose their ability to refresh us, because our thoughts continue racing from one thing to another. Many people assume they're exhausted because they're working too hard. Sometimes they're simply trying to pay attention to too many things at once. The human mind was never designed to process an endless stream of competing demands. It performs best when it can give its full attention to one meaningful task for an extended period of time. That's why intentional focus is such a valuable practice. Improving focus isn't always about forcing yourself to work harder. Often, it's about removing the distractions that never needed your attention in the first place. Simple habits can make an enormous difference. Working without interruptions for a while. Taking a walk without constantly checking a phone. Sitting with someone and giving them your complete attention during a conversation. These moments may seem ordinary, but they strengthen one of the most important abilities we can develop. The ability to remain fully present instead of constantly searching for the next source of stimulation. In today's world, that ability has become increasingly rare. Of course, sustained focus isn't always comfortable. The mind often resists it because distractions provide quick rewards. Every notification, every new headline, and every fresh piece of information offers a brief burst of excitement. Real focus asks something different of us. It requires patience. It asks us to stay with one task even after the initial motivation fades away. This is why deep concentration often feels difficult at first. Our minds have become accustomed to constant change. Slowing down and remaining still can feel unfamiliar, but unfamiliar doesn't mean unhealthy. Many of the habits that improve our lives feel uncomfortable in the beginning because they require us to break old patterns and build new ones. Growth rarely feels effortless during its earliest stages. The Stoics understood that true self-mastery begins with choosing where our attention goes. Instead of allowing every outside influence to decide for us. Every time we intentionally return our focus to what matters, we strengthen that ability. Every distraction we resist reminds us that our attention doesn't belong to every notification, every opinion, or every passing thought. Each time we gently bring our mind back to the task before us, we reinforce the understanding that awareness is something we can guide, rather than something that simply happens to us. This isn't a process of perfection. Everyone's mind wanders. Everyone gets distracted. Everyone loses focus from time to time. What matters isn't avoiding distraction forever. What matters is returning. Every return strengthens the habit of attention. Every repetition builds greater stability. Slowly, almost without noticing, the mind becomes calmer, because it is no longer being pulled in every direction at once. Clearer attention leads to clearer decisions. Focused effort produces better results, because energy is no longer scattered across countless unnecessary concerns. Gradually, we begin experiencing the difference between reacting automatically to everything around us and responding thoughtfully with intention. That single difference can transform everyday life. It creates room for deeper thinking, wiser decisions, and actions that truly reflect our values. But attention alone isn't enough to create lasting growth. Focus determines where our energy is directed. Yet something else determines whether we continue showing up day after day. Without that foundation, even the strongest concentration eventually fades when motivation disappears. This is why the Stoics placed their trust in principles rather than emotions. Emotions naturally rise and fall, but principles remain steady. They provide direction when circumstances become uncertain and feelings become unreliable. Someone guided by principles doesn't have to wait until they feel motivated before acting. If something is worth doing, they do it. If a responsibility exists, they take care of it. Living this way removes much of the inner conflict that holds people back. Many of us spend more time arguing with ourselves than actually taking action. We negotiate, we search for excuses, we postpone decisions, and we reconsider choices we've already made. By the time that internal debate finally ends, valuable time and energy have already been lost. The Stoics believed that a life guided by clear principles leaves far less room for unnecessary hesitation. When your values are already decided, your actions become simpler, your decisions become clearer, and your energy can be spent moving forward instead of endlessly debating whether to begin. By the time we finally stop arguing with ourselves, we've often wasted valuable time and mental energy. This is one of the reasons discipline is so powerful. It removes much of the unnecessary struggle that takes place inside our minds before any real action begins. Many people think discipline limits freedom, but the opposite is often true. Real discipline creates freedom because it frees us from endless hesitation and second guessing. Instead of constantly deciding whether to act, we simply follow the standards we've already chosen for ourselves. That shift brings a surprising sense of peace. The mind becomes quieter because it is no longer trapped in a cycle of procrastination, guilt, and repeated promises to start tomorrow. The energy that was once spent debating every decision becomes available for work that actually moves life forward. As this pattern continues, something even more valuable begins to grow: trust in yourself. This kind of trust is different from confidence that depends on talent, compliments, or outward success. It isn't built through what other people say about you. It's built through evidence that you create for yourself. Every task you complete becomes proof that you can rely on yourself. Every promise you keep strengthens that belief. Every difficult moment you endure without giving up adds another piece of evidence. Gradually, your mind begins reaching a new conclusion. It recognizes that your words have meaning because your actions consistently support them. When you say you'll do something, you actually follow through. That may sound simple, but its impact is enormous. Few things are more empowering than knowing you can depend on yourself regardless of the situation. The Stoics understood that character isn't formed by one impressive decision. It's created by the choices we repeat every day. A single disciplined action is valuable, but hundreds of disciplined actions slowly shape who we become. With enough repetition, behaviors that once required effort begin to feel natural. Following through no longer feels like forcing yourself. It simply becomes part of your identity. This is why consistency matters more than occasional bursts of motivation. Repeated actions become habits, and habits eventually become character. The changes happen slowly, almost unnoticed, yet small actions performed consistently over months and years often produce results that seem far greater than the effort invested. What feels insignificant today may become life-changing when viewed over the course of time. Even so, discipline has an obstacle that isn't always obvious. Most people assume discipline is defeated by laziness or distraction. But sometimes the real challenge is much quieter. A person may have strong routines, keep their commitments, and appear highly disciplined, while still allowing their direction to be controlled by something outside themselves. They continue looking for approval. They measure their progress by how others respond. Their actions remain tied to praise instead of personal conviction. This creates a hidden weakness, because anything that depends on outside validation becomes unstable the moment that validation disappears. There's nothing wrong with enjoying encouragement or appreciating kind words. Recognition feels good, and support from others can be valuable. The problem begins when approval becomes something we need rather than something we appreciate. Once our decisions depend on being accepted, our judgment begins to change. Instead of asking what is right, we begin asking what will receive the most approval. From that point forward, our direction is no longer guided by principles, but by the changing opinions of other people. The difficulty is that public opinion never stays the same. What one group admires today may be criticized tomorrow. What earns praise in one situation may receive disapproval in another. Anyone who builds their sense of purpose on those shifting opinions will eventually feel pulled in countless directions. Even strong discipline becomes fragile when it depends on external approval. Instead of creating independence, it quietly reinforces dependence. The desire to be accepted is one of the strongest influences on human behavior. Because it rarely appears harmful, it often hides behind qualities that seem positive. We tell ourselves we're simply trying to keep the peace. We say we're being thoughtful, cooperative, or respectful. We convince ourselves that we're protecting relationships or avoiding unnecessary conflict. Those intentions can certainly be healthy, but there is a point where consideration slowly turns into dependence. There comes a moment when the need to be liked becomes stronger than the desire to remain true to our own judgment. When that happens, we begin drifting away from our principles without even realizing it. Instead of asking what we genuinely believe is right, we start choosing whatever is most likely to earn acceptance. This shift rarely happens all at once. It develops quietly through countless small compromises. We hold back honest opinions to avoid criticism. We soften our beliefs so no one feels uncomfortable. We postpone meaningful goals because we're afraid others won't understand them. Individually, these choices seem insignificant, but over time, they accumulate, slowly pulling us farther away from the person we intended to become. The Stoics believed that genuine freedom begins the moment our actions are guided by principles rather than by the changing approval of others. When our values become our compass, outside praise and criticism lose much of their power. We are no longer controlled by every opinion we encounter. Instead, we move forward with quiet confidence, knowing that our direction comes from within rather than from the expectations of the crowd. Over time, people can begin making decisions based on a completely different standard. Instead of asking, "Does this match my values?" they start asking, "Will people approve of this?" Rather than focusing on what is meaningful, they become concerned with what will be admired or accepted. Slowly, their attention shifts away from personal judgment and toward the opinions of others. Before long, someone may find themselves living according to expectations they never intentionally chose. The Stoics warned against this because they understood how unpredictable public opinion really is. Praise and criticism never stay the same. They change with circumstances, trends, emotions, and personal preferences. What one person celebrates, another may reject. Something admired today may be criticized tomorrow. If your peace of mind depends on those changing opinions, lasting peace becomes impossible. You'll constantly feel pressured to adjust, trying to gain approval while worrying about losing it. That's a fragile way to live, because you're building your sense of security on something you can never fully control. The Stoics refused to place their happiness on such uncertain ground. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that the worth of an action is not determined by how many people applaud it. A truthful statement remains true whether others agree with it or not. A good deed remains good even if no one notices it. That simple idea changes the way we approach life. Instead of worrying about appearances, we begin focusing on substance. The question changes from "What will people think?" to "Is this the right thing to do?" That shift removes an incredible amount of unnecessary stress. We spend less time trying to manage other people's opinions and more time improving our own actions. This doesn't mean ignoring advice or believing we have nothing left to learn. The Stoics valued wisdom wherever it appeared. Helpful criticism can reveal mistakes we didn't notice. Honest feedback can help us grow. And different perspectives often deepen our understanding. The difference lies in who makes the final decision. Someone who depends on approval allows others to decide their direction. Someone guided by principles listens carefully, considers the advice, and then chooses independently. They remain open to learning without becoming controlled by every opinion they hear. Their judgment comes from thoughtful reflection rather than popularity. Living this way brings a quiet sense of freedom. The energy, once spent trying to impress others, becomes available for things that truly matter. The constant need to explain every decision, defend every choice, or seek everyone's permission slowly disappears. You stop waiting for universal agreement because you realize it will never exist. Sometimes, doing the right thing means standing alone. Not because you enjoy being isolated, but because you trust your principles enough to keep moving forward even when others disagree. That confidence becomes especially valuable during uncertain times. The need for approval often creates another hidden problem. Without realizing it, many people begin performing instead of living. They hide opinions they genuinely believe. They avoid interests that might seem unusual. They postpone dreams because they fear being judged. Gradually, they create a version of themselves designed to earn acceptance rather than express who they truly are. That performance may succeed on the outside, but internally, it creates constant tension. Maintaining an image requires endless effort. The larger the gap between who you are and who you pretend to be, the more exhausting life becomes. Instead of simply living, you're managing appearances. You're protecting a reputation. You're responding to expectations that may have little to do with your authentic self. But once approval no longer controls your decisions, much of that pressure disappears. There's less need to impress, because there's less need to perform. Your attention naturally returns to personal growth instead of public image. Your energy shifts toward building qualities that remain valuable whether anyone notices them or not. Patience becomes more important than popularity. Integrity matters more than appearance. Reliability matters more than recognition. These qualities don't become valuable because people praise them. They are valuable because they shape the kind of person you become. This is where real transformation begins. Life is no longer something to display. It becomes something to build. Daily actions become more meaningful than public recognition. The way you behave in private matters more than the image you present in public. The desire to look strong slowly gives way to the desire to actually become strong. As that happens, a different kind of confidence begins to emerge. It's quieter than the confidence that comes from compliments or applause. It doesn't need constant reassurance because it's built on something much more stable. It grows from knowing your actions consistently reflect your values. It comes from making thoughtful choices instead of reacting to every situation emotionally. Because this confidence is rooted in character rather than public opinion, it's far more difficult for outside circumstances to shake. When someone reaches this point, the way they experience life begins to change. They stop asking whether other people notice them and start asking whether they are living according to the values they believe in. From there, something even more meaningful develops. A person's life gradually becomes an example of the principles they have chosen to follow. Interestingly, the goal itself begins to change. At first, many people pursue discipline because they want to stop feeling weak. They hope for greater confidence, stronger self-control, and better emotional balance. Those are worthy goals. But as they continue growing, they discover that strength isn't the destination. The deeper goal becomes becoming the kind of person whose life naturally reflects wisdom, courage, honesty, patience, and integrity. Improvement is no longer about proving your worth to anyone else. It's about becoming someone you genuinely respect. The Stoics believe that character is never revealed by impressive speeches or beautiful ideas alone. Anyone can talk about courage, honesty, patience, or discipline. What truly matters is whether those values appear in everyday behavior. People learn what you believe by watching how you act. They notice how you respond when your plans fail. They notice how you treat others when nothing is gained in return. They notice whether your standards remain steady when life becomes difficult. Character is revealed through repeated actions, not occasional performances. This is why the Stoics paid such close attention to ordinary days. They understood that life is rarely made up of dramatic moments. Most of our lives are built through simple decisions repeated again and again. It is within those ordinary choices, when no one is watching, when no reward is guaranteed, and when the easier path is always available, that lasting character is quietly formed. Real character is built through the small choices most people overlook. It begins with getting out of bed when you said you would, finishing your responsibilities before seeking comfort, staying calm when something minor goes wrong, and choosing honesty even when telling the truth feels difficult. These moments rarely receive praise. No one applauds them, and they rarely seem important at the time. Yet they quietly shape the person you are becoming. Every decision strengthens a habit. Every habit reinforces a way of thinking. Over time, those repeated behaviors become your character. Many people believe they'll discover their strength when a major challenge finally appears. They imagine that, somehow, they'll become more disciplined, more patient, or more courageous when life truly tests them. The Stoics saw things differently. They believed that pressure doesn't suddenly create virtues that were never practiced. Instead, difficult moments reveal the habits we've already built. Someone who has practiced patience in everyday situations is far more likely to remain patient during a crisis. Someone who has developed self-control through small daily challenges is better prepared to stay calm when emotions run high. Preparation doesn't begin when the difficult moment arrives. It begins long before it ever appears. Once you understand this, ordinary life takes on new meaning. Everyday situations are no longer just routine. They become opportunities to strengthen your character. The way you respond to small inconveniences today shapes how you'll respond to much greater challenges tomorrow. The responsibility you accept now prepares you for the responsibilities you'll carry in the future. Nothing exists in isolation. Every choice becomes part of a larger pattern, and every repeated pattern becomes part of the foundation your life is built upon. As those habits become stronger, discipline gradually changes. At first, doing the right thing requires constant effort. Staying focused feels difficult. Ignoring distractions feels uncomfortable. Keeping promises to yourself demands conscious determination. But repetition changes everything. With enough practice, the behaviors that once required willpower begin to feel natural. Responsibility stops feeling like something you force yourself to do. It simply becomes part of who you are. Remaining calm becomes easier because you've practiced it repeatedly. Acting with integrity becomes automatic because you've chosen it so many times before. The Stoics never expected anyone to become perfect. They understood that mistakes are part of being human. There will always be setbacks, moments of frustration, disappointment, and uncertainty. The difference is that these experiences no longer have the power to destroy your progress. Instead of knocking you completely off course, they become challenges you know you can handle. Your foundation has become strong enough to absorb difficulty without losing direction. Over time, another important change takes place. Your confidence begins coming from a completely different place. It no longer depends on success, praise, recognition, or perfect circumstances. Those things are temporary and constantly changing. Instead, confidence grows from experience. It comes from facing discomfort instead of avoiding it, and realizing that you can handle more than you once believed. It grows each time you keep a promise to yourself. It grows every time you recover from failure instead of allowing failure to define you. This kind of confidence isn't loud or attention-seeking. It's quiet, but it's also incredibly strong because it isn't dependent on outside circumstances. It remains steady even when the outcome is uncertain. People often recognize this quality before they can describe it. There's a calmness about someone who lives according to principles instead of emotions. You can hear it in the way they speak. You can see it in the way they respond when pressure increases. You notice it in their ability to remain grounded while everything around them becomes uncertain. They don't need to convince anyone that they have integrity because their behavior speaks for itself. Their actions become their reputation. Their consistency becomes their message. The Stoics never promised a life without hardship. Instead, they offered something much more valuable. They taught that it is possible to become the kind of person who meets hardship with resilience instead of fear. Someone who doesn't need perfect conditions before taking action. Someone who doesn't rely on constant encouragement before moving forward. Someone who understands that discomfort is often the price of growth. Uncertainty is part of every meaningful journey, and setbacks are not signs of failure, but natural steps in the process of improvement. Most importantly, they develop trust in themselves, not because they believe life will always be easy, not because they expect to avoid struggle, but because they have experienced difficult moments before and discovered that they can survive them, learn from them, and continue moving forward. That kind of self-trust is one of the greatest strengths a person can possess. It isn't earned overnight. It's built quietly through hundreds of ordinary decisions, strengthened by daily discipline, and carried into every challenge life presents. Real strength is never created in a single dramatic moment. It is built in the choices no one notices. It grows each time you accept responsibility instead of avoiding it. It grows every time you face discomfort instead of running from it. It grows whenever you choose to live according to your principles, even when doing so is difficult. The Stoics believe that character is not something you discover waiting inside yourself. It is something you build, one decision at a time, one habit at a time, and one day at a time. If these ideas have spoken to you, continue exploring them. Every lesson you apply, no matter how small, becomes another step toward a stronger, calmer, and more purposeful life. Thank you for spending this time reflecting on these Stoic principles. Your willingness to learn, think deeply, and grow already sets you on an important path. Until next time, continue choosing discipline over excuses, wisdom over impulse, and steady progress over quick rewards. Keep building the character that will carry you through whatever life brings.